Hello, welcome to sprint number 3. In this video, I'm going to go through the mural that you are supposed to complete at home with your team for sprint 3. So remember, before starting, you get to name a facilitator, a sprint master that is going to be responsible for ensuring that everyone is working, that everyone is motivated to do the work, that you follow the instructions, that you keep a rhythm and a well environment for working. So when you start, go to the first section of the outline here and take a look at the instructions, okay? So this sprint is supposed to help you decide on which are the best solutions and those who have the most potential and the best chances of achieving our long-term goal. So during this sprint, you're going to evaluate and critique the solutions that you came up with during the last sprint, so sprint number 2, and you are going to vote and decide on those that have the most potential. So before starting, go and take a look at the video for this sprint. For accessing the video, you just need to double click on the image with the funny squirrel here. Or you can also click on the YouTube. You will be seeing the link to the video for that sprint. Okay, so once you read this, it will take you at least 3 minutes to watch the video. You are going to start with the voting session. So let's go to section number 2, voting on solutions. So there are going to be 4 voting activities that you are going to complete with your team based on the solutions that you came up with during the last sprint. So the first thing you need to do, and this is for the facilitator, you need to go and copy the solutions, the sketches that from last sprint, and you're going to paste them here. So in each white space, you're going to paste the final sketch, one of the final sketch of a sprint 2. So if you are 4 members, you are supposed to have 4 sketches, so 4 final sketches, and you're going to use 4 spaces, so 1 space per sketch. Remember that when you place the sketches here, please take out any name or anything that will identify the creator of the sketch. We want to work anonymously, so we want to take out any names or any identity from the sketches so that we can vote based on the sketch and not based on the person. Okay, so once you have done that, we are going to start with the first voting activity, which is the heat map. So the heat map, the idea is that each member is going to have 20 blue dots, so each blue dot is a vote that you are going to place on the ideas that you like the most, on the sketches that you like the most. So you can vote and place as many dots you want in one same sketch. Of course, trying to put 2 to 3 dots to the most exciting ideas. So for example, you have here one sketch and you can see that there is one idea that was really, let's say, successful among the members and people were voting on that idea. So you can place 2 to 3 dots to a specific idea on a sketch, or you can vote generally on a sketch. The idea is that you use your 20 votes. So the most important here is that you don't get to talk to anyone. You do this alone. So we are working together, but we are doing it alone. So you're going to look at each solution sketch. You are going to place your dots on the exciting ideas or on the parts you like, if any, because you can also decide that there is anything you like about the sketch and you can pass to the next one. So you get to vote on those ideas. Then once you finish, if you have questions or doubts on that sketch or on that specific idea, you get to also put them there. Each member has 20 those that are assigned to them. You can find them on the sections dots member for 1, dots for member 2, dots for member 3, and so on. So for example, here are my 20 dots, and I get to move them and place them wherever I want on the sketch. That's how I I do it. So be careful of only using your dots and not dots from other people. Okay, so once you've voted on the sketches, so once you put your dots on the sketches, if you have any doubts, you go on the bottom of the sketch and you get to put your questions or doubts there with post-its. Okay, so just remember to do that. So for each sketch, if you have any question or doubts. Once you finish one sketch, you get to move to the other and so on. So this activity should take you between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how many of you are. And then once you finish, you pass to the second voting activity, which is present solutions and critique. Okay, so the idea here is that you get to look again at each of the solution sketches. You are going to take 2 minutes to watch and let's say observe a sketch for 2 minutes. The idea here is that the creator of that sketch remains silent and anonymous, and the facilitator gets to narrate the sketch and what is happening. For example, he's going to explain, oh, here it looks like the customer is ordering a cup of coffee and then waiting for the receipt. So he gets to narrate what is happening on the sketch. Then the facilitator is going to call out those standout ideas, so those that had gathered more votes, more blue dots. For example, is going to say, oh, it looks like there is a lot of dots in the waiting of receipt. Then team members get to write down standout ideas on sticky notes and place them above the sketch. So again, here, for example, when you pose it, when you had the question, you also get to put some sticky notes with the best ideas or the standout ideas from each of the sketches. For example, one will be waiting receipt. So the idea is that you give a name to those ideas and you place it above the sketch. Okay, so once everyone has reviewed the concerns and questions about that sketch, the creator gets to reveal their identity and explain if there is anything that the team missed or if he wants to explain something else about why he did that or why he thought about a specific thing and so on. Then you move to the next sketch. So every time you do the same process, you get to use 2 to 3 minutes per sketch, no more than that, okay? Once you finish with this activity, second voting activity, you go to the third voting activity, which is the straw poll. So the aim of the straw poll is to vote on the favorite concepts. So the facilitator is going to give one vote to every member. Of course, the facilitator needs to remind that what is the initial goal and the initial problem that was set up at the beginning of this design sprint. So here we are going to remind also that risky ideas are good, that if they are original or have some innovative thoughts in there, they are good also. The idea is that we look for those that might have potential. Okay, so again, one vote per team member. You get to start a voting session. So the facilitator gets to start a voting session for 5 minutes, and everyone has one vote. So for doing that, the facilitator needs to go and start a voting session. So you have the icon here with the little dot on the side that's starting a voting session. You click there, you say start a voting session, and you're going to say that you want one vote per person. Who can end the voting? Well, just the facilitator. And you can decide on which sections they get to vote, but you can skip this part because you know where to vote. And you can just start. So once you start, you remember also to set up the chronometer for 5 minutes, okay? Once everyone has voted, you get to explain during 5 minutes. Everyone gets to explain why they voted on a specific sketch or idea. Uh, and you can either vote on a complete sketch or on a specific idea of a sketch. And the idea is that here we get to exchange and share about our thoughts, and maybe that will lead us to understand better or have new questions on a specific idea or solution. So this activity should take you 10 minutes, 5 minutes for voting, and 5 minutes to explain why you voted that. And then you get to pass to the fourth voting activity, which is the super vote. So here the team needs to name two people that are going to be the deciders. These deciders are going to have special votes or special super votes, let's say, that will help the team to move forward with some ideas and some solutions. So two people that are going to have the decider hat, let's say. So these deciders are going to have three special super votes. So D1, D1, D1 are the three votes for decided one, and D2 are the votes for decided two. So their decision is completely independent. Either they can decide to take in consideration everyone else's opinion. So, for example, base their vote on the ideas that gather most of the votes in the activities before, or they can completely ignore that and decide on their own for the ideas that have the most potential. So these two deciders get to place their super votes on the ideas. Once you once you name who are going to be the two deciders, please change the D1 and D2 to your name initials. So if you are Maria, you put M instead of D1. You put M in each of the three votes. So the super deciders get 5 minutes to finish this activity. Once you finish this voting activity, you get to do a short break. After you take a 15 minutes break, it's time to rumble and decide. So here, the facilitator needs to copy the sketches or the ideas that got most of the votes, those that let's say had most of the blue dots and the super votes together, and you get to put them here in the space. So you can have potentially more than one sketch, or at least two or three independent parts of one or two sketches. So you get to put them here. Either is a complete sketch or two complete sketch or independent ideas from different sketches. Whatever it is that you had, you get to put them here. So all those that have most of the votes, you put them here. This is where you have the winners. So now you get to decide whether you are going to merge everything in one big solution or you rumble, right? So as you group, you get to decide how to operate. You can separate winners from the maybe later. So for example, once you have everything in there, you can say, okay, in reality, we have only two really well ideas or the ideas that have really good potential and that could be easily implemented. These others are also good, but they need more time or more development. So we are going to separate them for maybe later, right? So if you decide to rumble, it means that you have to prototype two or three different solutions. So if you get to merge, you get to put all those ideas into one big solution. If you're doing a merge, then use the note and vote technique to pick a brand name, a fake brand name. So the idea is that everyone is going to just write some ideas, list some ideas individually on this note space, the blue space. about potential names for that big solution that gathers all those winner ideas. And then you get a decider to vote and pick the winner, the idea that gets like the more likes or the more votes on its name. Once you decide on which idea you're going to continue, it's time to create a storyboard. So the storyboard is going to be the plan for prototyping. It's what you are delivering to the prototyping team so that they can build it, right? So think of it as a comic book of your solution. In each white space, you get to draw a specific scene of your product or of your solution and how the user interact with the solution, okay? So you have to think first about what is going to be the opening scene. So think about how the customer encounters with your solution, your offer, whatever, and then continue developing each scene and how and kind of the journey of the user when using the solution. So for example, if it's about application for engaging students, you will have, for example, on the first scene, when the student gets to download the application in their mobile. The second scene will be, for example, registering to or creating an account. The third scene is when the student gets to link the account to the Zoom meeting and so on. So the more you can fill these squares, the better, because the more you give detail, the easier it's going to be when you go to the prototyping phase. The idea is that each storyboard should have at least 5 scenes, and this is really the minimum, and at max 16 scenes. So the more you get, the better, because it's more detail, and again, it's going to help you in the prototyping phase. For filling the storyboard, you can either draw, or you can look on Google or whatever you look for things, screens or print screens from applications, similar applications or similar interactions between a product and the user. So if there are already things that exist, then go and use them. If they don't, then draw them. Whatever you prefer is okay. The idea is that you have this storyboard as complete as possible. Again, if you decide to rumble and you have 2 or 3 ideas, then you need to prototype and storyboard and make a storyboard for each of those solutions. If you merge, then you will have only one solution and one storyboard. So this activity is the one that is going to take you the most of your time. It is between 60 to 90 minutes to do. And but it's also the most important one, because it's going to be like the main step for the prototyping. Okay, so once you finish this, that's it, you get to the finish line. So when you get there, please erase the black square only when you finish, not before. Okay, so I hope this video was clear enough and that now you're ready for completing sprint number 3. See you soon in class. Bye bye.